The National Assembly this week wrapped up its first interpellation session under the Lee Jae-myung administration. The 4 days of questions sparked heated exchanges between the rival parties over a wide range of state affairs. For more on this, we have our political correspondent Shin Ha-young in the studio with us. Welcome, Ha-young.
Thanks for having me, Eunji.
So, Ha-young, this week a lot of attention was on the questions and answer session since it was the first since President Lee took office, right?
You're right, Eunji. But first, for those unfamiliar, an interpellation session is a formal process in which members of the National Assembly question top government officials, from the Prime Minister to cabinet ministers, about their policies and performance. And this 4-day session began on Monday and ran through Thursday, covering a wide range of issues, including diplomacy, security, the economy, education, and society. And the questions came amid heightened tensions between the rival parties after a bipartisan agreement on bills for the 3 special counsel investigations into the Yoon Suk-yeol government fell apart.
I see. And Ha-young, what were some of the key issues that were addressed during the session?
Well, the issue of South Korean workers detained in Georgia came under fire, with the main opposition People Power Party arguing that the large-scale arrests targeting only Korean factories by U.S. immigration authorities at a time when tariff negotiations between Seoul and Washington are underway reflect the Lee Jae-myung administration's lack of competence. The ruling Democratic Party, on the other hand, countered that the incident stemmed from excessive crackdowns by the U.S. authorities. Take a listen.
The use of chains and ankle shackles during the arrests. This is being condemned as clear mistreatment and an inhumane practice. The U.S. too must change what needs to be changed and improve what needs to be improved.
In response to these concerns, the foreign minister said that the events could serve as a blessing in disguise.
The U.S. has now taken the initiative to actively address long-standing visa issues. And since we have also been pressing strongly on this matter, I think it will serve as an opportunity to resolve visa problems more effectively going forward.
A heated debate ensued as lawmakers continued to clash over judicial and prosecutorial reforms, which clouded the interpellation from the outset. On the last day of the session, the PPP criticized the DP for calling on Chief Justice Cho Lee-dae to step down over alleged political bias and for proposing to increase the number of Supreme Court justices, calling it an attempt by the administration to control the judiciary.
All of these actions that undermine the fairness of trials and encroach on judicial authority are unconstitutional measures that shake the very foundation of the liberal democratic order.
And Prime Minister Kim Min-seok dismissed the claims, stressing that the debate should not be reduced to political timing or appointments.
And how were economic issues addressed during the session?
Well, economic issues took center stage on the 3rd day of the 4-day Q&A with government officials. And the PPP targeted the ruling party's unilateral passage of contentious bills, such as the pro-labor Yellow Envelope Act, arguing that they hinder business activity.
The Yellow Envelope Act reflects the views of the Korean Confederation of Trade Unions, and I believe it restricts businesses and could drive them out of the country. That's why I think the ruling DP, which holds a National Assembly majority, needs to introduce follow-up legislation.
The government understands that issues can arise from misunderstandings, exaggerations, or uncertainty. That's why it will set up a task force and create manuals to address them.
Amid ongoing trade negotiations with Washington, the ruling DP rebutted the opposition's concerns over the scale of South Korea's pledged investment in the U.S., saying it was not unrealistic, with the Prime Minister adding that it will benefit Korea's economy in the long run.
The pledged $350 billion is large, but given that South Korea's financial assets in the U.S. reached $962.6 billion at the end of last year, and the current account surplus with the U.S. totaled $118.2 billion in 2024, I don't think it's unrealistic. What's the Prime Minister's view?
While it may be a burden for us now, in the long run, it can be a win-win for both Korea and the U.S. and even benefit our economy's long-term growth. So I think it's hard to judge it by the number alone.
So, Ha-young, what's next for the National Assembly? What lies ahead in terms of political standoff between the 2 rival parties?
Well, with the regular session still underway, more contentious issues are expected in the weeks ahead. The National Assembly's audit of government ministries and agencies is scheduled to begin on October 13th, with lawmakers reviewing performance across policy, spending, administration, and public impact. And lawmakers will also need to tackle the 2026 budget and other key reform bills, but sharp partisan divisions remain even before these issues arise. And in fact, the launch of a joint consultative body on livelihood-related matters composed of both parties has been set back due to the ruling party's push for the government reorganization plan. And although the rival parties initially agreed to establish the body and hold its first meeting on Friday, the PPP announced that the launch has now been postponed. And with this setback and other key developments, attention will remain on the upcoming event as the regular session unfolds.
All right, Hayeon, thank you for the wrap-up today. Do keep us posted.
Will do. Thank you.